This is the ADHD hangover. You're doing something highly enjoyable until out of nowhere, your ADHD brain crashes. Not just tired, not just low energy, you'll feel completely destroyed for no reason. It hits after scrolling for a few hours or pushing too hard at work, sometimes even after a workout. When you've completely burned through all your dopamine reserves and reach a dangerous moment of a few hours that leaves you feeling empty, restless, and numb. During this time, nothing feels motivating. Your dopamine levels are depleted. Time slows down dramatically and you become way more impulsive. You take more risks, you drive too fast, you say things you regret, you pick fights, you self-sabotage without knowing why. But here's the truth. Your brain is just trying to feel something again, no matter the consequences. This is why a lot of our life-defining bad decisions will come from right here. But this state doesn't just last for a few hours. It can last for days, weeks, months, even years, until you feel completely destroyed and like there's no way back. If you're not careful, each of the 3 ADHD hangover stages can lead to the next, until you reach a point of no return from which it'll feel impossible to recover from. This point doesn't just feel like a hangover anymore. It's a moment where everything starts to fall apart. Addiction, jail, even early death. You don't get to hit snooze on this one. But it doesn't have to be this way. Even if it doesn't feel like it, there's a moment at each stage where you have a choice. This is where you have to make the right one to not go under indefinitely. And if you make this choice, you will actually be able to live a life you've never dreamed possible. One marked by purpose and meaning instead of shame and anxiety. How do I know? Because I've lived it. My name is Nick. I was diagnosed with ADHD 8 years ago, and I've been through these stages, except for the last one. Because if I'd hit that point, I probably wouldn't have been able to make this video. Heck, I probably wouldn't be able to do much of anything. By the way, if this already feels a little too real, I'm hosting a free live event where I'll show you how to break this cycle, beat procrastination, and finally focus without relying on willpower or medication. Click the link below to save your free seat before they're gone. I'd love to see you there live. Today, I run a business and a channel with over 3 million followers, helping ADHDers not just survive, but actually thrive by combining my lived experience with the latest research. I know the exact brain traps that will pull you under and the ones that are almost impossible to climb out of. And by the end of this video, I'll show you exactly how you can avoid falling into the point of no return and actually live a life that's truly yours, not one controlled by your dopamine-seeking brain. Stage 1, the dopamine crash. The first hangover makes you incredibly impulsive. But why? While ADHD brains experience reward more intensely, we also burn out from it faster. When you get stimulated for a long time by scrolling, gaming, or intense work, you get a flood of dopamine. But when that stimulation ends, dopamine drops. And because ADHD brains are less efficient at rebalancing quickly, it leads to a crash. This is where you just want to feel something again. And while it can feel like you have no control whatsoever, you have to make the right decision here before it's too late. The best thing you can do at this stage is nothing dramatic. Don't chase the itch. Don't try to fix it with more stimulation. Go analog. Take a quiet walk. Talk to someone, even if the words come out messy. You don't have to fix anything here. You just have to ride it out. It can last for a few hours to a day, depending on how expended your dopamine reserves are and how hard you pushed your brain before. This stage feels horrible, I know. But if you catch it here, it passes. The danger is when you don't catch it and keep pushing. Stage 2, the burnout loop. Imagine someone waking up, having slept over 10 hours and still feeling tired. At this stage, even though your body is rested, your brain isn't. You're constantly feeling low energy and functioning, but not really living. You get up to work, but you're scared to enter focus because you know that your brain can't handle things like it used to. You need more fast dopamine every day just to feel normal again. And so you binge eat more and chase stimulation. You say no to people and activities you used to enjoy because it's just too effortful. Everything feels harder and you just want to rest. Your life feels more and more out of your control, but you tell yourself that you have to keep going. Otherwise, your life or career will be over. What are people going to think? You haven't stood still in years. Heck, you don't even know what that feels like. Sound familiar? This stage feels like a hangover you're not recovering from. Often, you don't know how you got here, but most of the time, there were a few key moments that led up to this point. point. Research shows that ADHDers often base their sense of self-worth on success or failure. In other words, our accomplishments become a proxy for our value. It's when you tie your identity to what you do instead of who you are that this stage will enter your life. When every day becomes a race to prove that you're worth it, to others and to yourself. And I was stuck right here. I stopped caring about what I usually care about. I didn't even have energy to exercise. Heck, move my body for longer than 20 minutes a day. I thought to myself, I'm a 27-year-old guy. I should have endless energy. What is wrong with me? I just wanted quick and instant relief from the world around me, and so I watched TV and gained weight. One day, I looked in the mirror and thought, who the hell is that? My face was bloated, eyes hollow. I looked like someone who had given up. As a consequence, my anxiety shot up. And I began to wonder if I'd be stuck here forever until I made a few incremental changes. Because not all was lost yet if I made the right choice. Reading up on the research, I found that ADHDers often struggle with motivational anhedonia, which is difficulty activating effort without stimulation. We, in contrast to others, need stress, urgency, and stakes to get our dopamine to focus and do stuff. But this is also when we start living life on fast forward mode. When we stop noticing and living and get stuck in doing. And your stress response gets stuck too. It spikes so high for so long that your nervous system forgets how to come back down, even when the danger is gone. If you don't address this stage appropriately, you're very close to the point of no return, when these symptoms can actually become chronic and stress levels never come down. After learning this, I knew something had to change. So I did something I'd never done before. I took time off. Days, even weeks, not to be productive, just to find myself again. That's when I made the shift from living for work and other people to actually prioritizing me. And let me tell you, it was so uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do with myself. My entire sense of worth came from what I produced. So guess what I did? I went to the zoo. Yeah, the zoo. And weirdly, I loved it. It was the first time in a long time that I wasn't chasing anything, just watching animals exist. And realizing I'm allowed to just exist too. I also got back into meditation and even found faith during this time, which gave my life meaning without stimulation. If you're at this stage, you just have to do one thing. You have to stop. You have to stop measuring yourself by how much you're doing and start measuring yourself by how you're being, how you're feeling doing what you're doing. You have to learn to listen to your brain and meet it with compassion, because it's not sabotaging you out of spite. It's begging you to stop. And if you make that choice, if you pause and actually listen, you can come back from this. Not just as who you were, but as someone new. As someone who knows they're not invincible, which will be where your real power lies. The power to build a life that's actually balanced. One rooted in what matters most: family, health, love, faith. Not driven by anxiety or achievement, but by meaning, by purpose. But too often have I seen people still push through this stage because it's what they know. It's what they were taught. Stuck in a hustle culture mindset and looking up to false idols, they think they can fix the relationship with themselves by pushing harder. They think if they reach the top, they'll break through the clouds and find bliss, that they'll finally be accepted. But the truth is, it's just a long and fast way down. I used to think my feelings of burnout were a cold, something you can push through, just ride out. I told myself, I'll bounce back. I always do. And for a while, I did. I'd crash, recover, and climb back on top. But then the crashes started coming faster. A 1-week dip turned into 2. 2 became 4, and each time it took more out of me. Until I finally saw the pattern and caught it. But what if I hadn't? What happens when you keep squeezing a sponge that's already bone dry? You may just reach the point of no return. This is where the inner voice turns cruel. It's where you've deeply internalized the mantra, just push through it. You've now entered the stage of identity-based shame, which triggers daily brain overactivity, ruminations, and hopelessness. You're fatigued 24/7, numb. You have heightened executive dysfunction and even experience frequent physical illness, things that become normal for you. You now avoid everything that matters and forgot what you're capable of. This is where addiction, prison, and self-destruction come in. And the reason this stage is almost impossible to recover from is that it becomes self-reinforcing. You enter into a shame, avoidance, and failure loop that prevents you from climbing out. Research shows that chronic stress in ADHD isn't just a temporary spike, it can lead to long-term dysregulation of your brain's entire stress system. In other words, your brain gets stuck in survival mode. Even when the danger's over, your body doesn't get the memo. And this can last for years, even a lifetime. It's chronic burnout. And a lot of ADHDers are prone to it. But why? If you have ADHD, you're wired to feel everything more, right? You react harder, shut down faster, lose track of time. You blame yourself when you fall behind. You don't sleep well. You're overstimulated constantly. There's no real off switch, no chance to reset. And in a world of fast dopamine, comparison culture, and endless pressure to keep up, your brain stays in chase mode until it crashes indefinitely. But there is one thing you can do before needing professional help. Look back at stage 3. What's really keeping you stuck there? Yes, ADHD makes it harder, but it's not the whole story. What if the real weight isn't just from burnout or ADHD, but from the identity you've built around being the one who pushes through? What if the reason you can't climb out is because deep down you think you are the whole? Here's the truth. The real point of no return isn't when you burn out. It's when you stop believing you can come back. Because at this stage, it's no longer just about neurobiology. It's about your belief system. You've likely internalized the idea that you're stuck here. And that belief will keep pulling you down until something or someone breaks the pattern. I know how this sounds. Some random guy on the internet saying, just believe in yourself.
Just do it!
Trust me, I know how insulting that can feel when you're numb and hopeless. But what if it's not about blind hope? What if it's about something smaller and more real? What if I told you that every tiny step you take after watching this video matters? The numbness? It's real, but it's not forever. If you've internalized that nothing you try will help, that's not just burnout, that's learned helplessness, a fixed mindset, and it fuels the spiral. But here's the good news. Research from Carol Dweck and others show that even small actions, ones that feel pointless, can shift you into a growth mindset. A mindset that says, I may be stuck now, but I can change. I can rebuild. That's how I got out. Not with willpower, but with hope. No matter which stage you're in, it always comes down to this choice. Do I chase quick dopamine? Or do I choose the slow climb out? The climb is hard, but it pays off more than anything else in your life. And it all starts by looking at your brain differently. You see, ADHD is widely misunderstood. It's often called a curse, and I used to believe that too, until I learned how to work with my brain instead of against it. The truth is, there is a way to focus, be productive, and get unstuck almost instantly without forcing yourself, burning out, or relying on willpower. Most ADHDers crash in the first place because they keep pushing against how their brain actually works. After more than 8 years of trial and error and deep research, I discovered a science-backed process that lets me unlock focus and beat procrastination effortlessly, on command, even for tasks I don't find interesting. It's the same method that helped me build my business and reach millions of people online while traveling the world. And it works consistently because it doesn't depend on novelty or motivation. If you want to learn exactly how it works and how to use it to finally reach your goals without burning out, I'm hosting a free live event where I'll break it all down step by step. Click the link in the description to grab one of the limited seats before they're gone, and I'll see you there live.